blab, 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 blab. It's gonna be a good one, guys. Talking Judd Apatow. Who doesn't love Judd Apatow? We'll find out. We're gonna be talking about his movies. I got Katie McDowell and I've got Matt Cragg. Matt Cragg. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna, it's a Wednesday night. It's hump day. There's a lot of humping in Judd Apatow's movies. Dun, 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 dun. Gather around the comments, y'all, for we have news. Matt Cragg's got a hot take. He's got a hot review of the latest movie, The King of Staten Island, directed by Judd Apatow. Oh my God. And, who knows what else. We want to hear from you, too. We want to hear what your absolute favorite Judd Apatow movie is. I am Dracula. I wanted to watch along the movie Blab. I must quickly share the feed on my wall so that we can spread the word. Judd Apatow. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I don't have an intern to do this for me anymore. Gotta share it myself. That's right, guys. I'm sharing Movie Blab. It's the show you're about to watch. It's live. And we talk about movies. And you can call in, talk about movies with us. Isn't that crazy? It's so experiential and incredible. Let's see. Post that. And we're going to do it to the group. We're sharing to the group, guys. Yes, I'd like to share it in a group. Sorry for the long intro. 40 seconds, guys. We're coming at you in 40 seconds no matter what happens. There it goes. And we're going to do it to the group. All right, guys. We're in the group. We're ready to go. This is Movie Blab. It's going to be a fun one. Don't go anywhere. I got Matt Cragg. I got Katie. I love Judd Apatow. It's gonna be great. 13 seconds, guys, and it's happening. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. You have 13 seconds to wait, right? Just kidding. We're gonna go for it right now. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Edison, and you're tuned in
to Movie Blab.
Reading it loud and clear. The clock has started.
Action! What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Movie Blab. It's going to be a fun one because we're talking about Judd Apatow. He's got a lot of great movies, and we've got a lot of great things to say about them. Join us, won't you?
Welcome to this podcast. Spread the word.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Movie Blab. I have here two wonderful guests. Katie McDowell. Katie! How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being on the Blab. It's great to see you. And as always, we love Katie on the Blab. She the best. Oh, she got a claw.
No laws with claws.
There's Matt Cragg. Matt Cragg, how are you today? Are you excited to talk about Judd Apatow movies?
Yeah, I am. I think I like Judd Apatow. Yeah, let's talk about him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe people, don't love him. I tried to make it seem like we love him so that it would rile the crowd up,
Yeah,
So,
he is probably the most influential person in comedy right now. So I think he's worth talking about, and he's got a new movie out. So let's get your appatakes, everybody.
Let's get your hot appatakes. That's right, guys. If you want to give us your hot appatake, you can call in. Oh, boy, that's right. We got a hotline. Matt Cragg, tell us about it.
All right, guys, we are now accepting callers during our live show, or you can leave us a voicemail right now at 908-679-9940.
Oh, what was that number?
It's 908-679-9940.
That's right, guys. I love it when you say the number.
If you guys got some hot takes on Judd Apatow, or you just want to talk about what your favorite Apatow movie is, maybe something he directed, maybe something he produced, please give us a call here on the show.
Yes.
I'm excited for this one.
I am excited too. I was just messing with Katie for a minute. I was like, if she's gonna play video games, I'm gonna put her on top of the TV. It's fine either way. Judd Apatow's ready to jump in.
We're just glad she's here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just started playing Crash Bandicoot. Now I feel like I can't stop.
And the minute she's gonna be like, "Oh, guys, someone just hello. Oh, my friend has an emergency. I have to go. See you soon." I mean, there's nothing wrong with gaming on a live stream. I'm never gonna tell you not to game on a live stream. That's where it all began. That's what created radio.
Let's talk about the Tao.
We love gamers here on Movie Blab. So.
Yes, exactly.
I am streaming to Twitch right now. If later I'm gonna cut my gaming.
You're on dual streams right now.
She's cheating on us, Movie Blab.
This is the way of the future.
That's awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about Apatow.
Let's
He's the king of comedy.
let's talk Apatow.
All right, guys.
When we're talking about Judd Apatow,
Sure.
He's got a lot of reach, not only as a director, but also, or especially as a writer and a producer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest. People don't realize how much he attempts to lift up other comedians, and I mean, there's a lot he does even behind the scenes that people don't know. I mean, including being a documentary filmmaker, producing some movies that people. I mean, he's so common that we forget how many movies he's produced, right?
Yeah.
Katie, what were you gonna say?
He's one of those people you see his name, you're like, oh, it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah. If he doesn't just put his name on anything, yeah.
He's got over 70 producing credits to his name on IMDb, 45 writing credits, and 21 directing credits.
Damn. Dude.
So I mean, since the 90s, he's been around.
Seriously, I mean,
that's for sure.
And his history of how he got into the biz is pretty interesting. I know that his first real writing job was working for the Larry Sanders Show, which I'm a huge fan of, and is on HBO Go Max now.
Any of those?
Yeah, I don't know. Take your pick, I guess. But that I just wanted to say that he began kind of as I believe a production assistant on that show, and then kind of got up to becoming a writer, and then was got to his first. That's really what he got. His first directing gig was directing the Larry Sanders Show. So he got a huge bump from his involvement in that show, and how just his genius mind was able to get him a gig that that jumped him ahead. And I'm sure he's taken a bunch of other career leaps. But if you haven't seen the Larry Sanders Show, you can see some of his influence, especially in his episodes, and you can see how it was this perfect sitcom breeding ground for him to be able to write something like Freaks and Geeks.
Well, that's the thing too. When people talk about Apatow, they generally think about the big movies, but he's been involved in a bunch of TV too. Like you said, Larry Sanders Show, Freaks and Geeks, Crashing, Girls. Even some ESPN 30 for 30s. Undeclared, yeah.
Undeclared, that was the one about college, right?
Yeah.
I
like that.
Yeah, that was a funny one. He just produced that.
He wrote that show Love too.
He directed Love, and
he directed a couple episodes of Love. Yeah, but he wrote 34 episodes of Love.
Yeah, Love is great. Love is a great one. I really liked that show.
I did too. I saw the first season, I think. How many seasons were there?
I want to say there's only been 2.
I believe there's been 2 or 3 seasons. 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, 2 or 3. That's what I'm on.
I mean, but that's you can't underestimate. I mean, he's got his hands in everything, right?
I mean, Anchorman,
not just movies, but also TV.
Yeah, Anchorman. I mean,
Step Brothers.
I love Step Brothers.
Right. That's his producer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So there's actually some breaking news about Judd Apatow from 5 hours ago. If you guys want to hear it. real
Yeah,
quick.
sure.
Judd Apatow has revealed Anchorman's original plot, and boy, is it crazy.
Oh,
The
I've
quote-
heard this before. Yeah.
Will
Sorry.
I just checked the date on it. Will Ferrell and Adam McKay wrote the script Anchorman, and they showed it to me. The first drafts were hilarious and crazy. It was about the Anchor team flying to an Anchorman convention. The plane crashes and they wind up on the side of a mountain where they're all trying to survive, and it almost becomes like the movie Alive, but with Anchormen. We were trying to get it made for years, and slowly they started changing the story because nobody would make this crazy version of it.
And there was like it was like gorillas, right? Like all gorillas on this island.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so, yeah.
there's like a Planet of the Apes style like crew of monkeys and gorillas that like attack them. Yeah.
Well, this
I've
article's
heard
from
about that
today at
before.
10 a.m. I don't know if this is new news.
Well,
I think I've heard McKay or Farrell talk about that before.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
I've heard it was on Paul Rudd's Hot Ones. He talks about that.
Yeah, maybe this guy just lied and made it seem like it's Cinema Blend though, so I trust it. Anyway,
It is a fun story though.
he's doing
It's
a bunch
great-
of press right now, so I'm sure he brought that up in one of his
Yeah.
appearances.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a great story though. Like how crazy that it went from that to what it was. Like that
Seriously.
it started out like that and it
that
turned
just shows
into
you how far a script can go.
yeah.
It's like I've heard that he writes all of his. Well, I did his master class too, which I want to talk about at some point. For writing comedy, I found it incredible. And he talks about how he writes all his movies on his phone in the notes section of his phone. He writes the whole movie that way, and he's just constantly texting himself like movie premises and ideas and stuff.
That's pretty crazy.
But I bet he has someone to go through them all.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you want to just kind of go through his filmography?
yeah. Let's
here?
go through his. Let's talk about him as a director first, and then let's do a little filmography segment here, guys, and explore just a list of his films and see kind of what he's done. I think of the big hits anyway. It's time for a filmography deep dive with Matt Cragg and Katie and me. So what do
Well, I mean, we mentioned this. We said, he got his start. The first thing he directed an episode of the Larry Sanders Show.
Uh-huh.
And then he went on, that was in 98. And then 99, 2000, he directed a number of episodes of Freaks and Geeks, which I really liked. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Last time I watched it, I was probably 19, 18.
Yes. And the Ben Stiller Show, right? I think
It's
he worked
so
on that
fun.
as well.
He didn't direct anything on
Oh,
the Ben
right.
Stiller Show.
Okay.
And Freaks and Geeks launched like the careers of a bunch of people.
Seth Rogen, of a ton of other people.
Yeah.
But mainly Seth Rogen.
Who's the guy from...
Martin Starr and James Franco.
Yeah, and then the guy from Forgetting Sarah
right.
Marshall.
Yes.
What's his name?
Jason Segel.
Yes.
Yeah, Jason Segel.
Jason
Yeah.
Segel. Sorry, not Segel.
Steven Seagal, Jason Segel.
I just combined those things.
That's funny. And then he directed a TV movie called North Hollywood that I've never heard of. Then went on, directed a couple episodes of Undeclared, which was in 2001, 2002. And then 2005 was his first real big directing debut with The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
What a breakout.
Oh, that was his
film.
first one? Man,
Yeah.
And people
That
went
was
nuts
so
for
good.
it.
Yeah, it was so good.
It's one of the funniest movies. It still holds up.
It was like The
It's-
Office had just come out, and then
Yes.
40-Year-Old Virgin came out, and
Yes.
it was like, Carell was like, God.
Yeah,
Yes,
Carell
it was
was
like,
everywhere.
Boom, he's done. He's a made man.
Yeah.
And that movie too has so many great different characters in it, and so many of the same actors that he uses a lot. Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Leslie Mann is in it. A lot of really funny characters.
Jane Lynch in that movie is so
Jane Lynch. Yeah, all the stuff at the electronics store really cheeses me out. That whole bit between Paul Rudd and Jane Lynch about the Doobie Brothers CD. Yeah, the Martin McDonagh.
Is that right? Is that the right name?
Yeah, and then he goes, that's the like, if I have to hear Yamo be there one more time, Yamo kill myself.
Yamo kill myself.
Yamo. God, there's so many amazing lines.
Yeah,
his movie have hilarious dialogue. I mean, they are very he's very good at comedy. There's no denying that, regardless of what you think of his films or, he's really good.
I think toward the beginning toward the beginning of his career, it was more focused on the comedy and the funny character actors and like the dialogue between like a group of people just sitting around like shooting the shit.
Yeah.
He gets all that really well, and like it feels really natural and fun, and nothing really forced. So he had 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then the next one is Knocked Up. He came out with 2 years later in 2007, and this really blew up Seth Rogen for sure.
I recently rewatched it. I hadn't watched it in a long time, and it's great.
Yeah,
I watched it like in high school, and not at the being like older, I can really like relate to it more.
Yeah, you appreciate it more. Yeah,
like I could really like feel it, and it was just like so good. That's what's cool about Apatow. It's like his movies like reflect him like aging and like his
he's a personal filmmaker, and his comedy comes from this sort of vulnerability that I think he brings to it, and I think that that's sort of maybe his secret sauce. And like Cragg and you guys are pointing out, maybe he takes that a little too far later on in his career, but I feel like every time he was trying to be funny, he is funny. But then what he did was sort of make larger decisions about the kind of movies that he wanted to make and what was inspiring to him, because I think he understood that like it's impossible for him to make any movie but the one he wants to make, because he's been like lucky enough in that progression in his career. So if he's drawn towards, making something more like Funny People or like This Is 40, he knows he has an audience for that, and he's not so concerned with. He knows he seems so confident in his career. His whole like career seems so like just sure of himself and how he's made these moves and the people he's invested in as a producer.
He seems like a really down to earth guy. Like he seems very like just like he's a good friend. You
like get that even in his masterclass.
Yeah,
and he does great appearances on late night too. I mean, that's something that. Like he's very, personable and funny, and his personality, to what you were saying, is totally like in all of his work. And so I think the rules of his filmmaking make it so he can't continue to make movies like 40-Year-Old Virgin, because it wouldn't be authentically inspired,
His movies too, like when you watch them, you like something that I always think about when I'm watching them. It's like, oh man, this would have been a super fun set to be on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you can feel the fun. Yeah, exactly. And fun is the key, right? I mean, that's what makes comedies good.
And he cultivated this kind of like group of people, all like starting at Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
And like he kept on building, and now he's like got this kind of group that it's like they do seem like they're friends outside of all of the movie, and like you get that kind of connection coming through on screen,
he does that every time, regardless of whether the movie fails or succeeds. He does. That seems to be the reoccurring thread in all of the work that he does, is that even Step Brothers or Walk Hard, like there's a lot of emotion there, and There's a
Yeah.
lot of like
Walk Hard is so amazing. It's
Yeah.
a freaking masterpiece. I
even in
rewatched
the movies
that
he picks to
too.
produce. Yeah, exactly.
Well, he wrote Walk Hard. That was one of his
Yeah.
writing credits.
He wrote Walk Hard and he wrote Pineapple Express, which are two of my tops. Like, I love those movies.
Yeah, I mean,
he's written some of the funniest movies of the last 20 years. When you think of the funniest movies of the last 20 years, like he probably has his hands on them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like-
I've watched some of those movies so many times, and like with big groups of friends, like they're just, it's like he's really had some like memorable movies that stand out.
So
his
after
impact is huge.
Yeah, it's huge. So after 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, kind of the next big movie he did was Funny People. And this was a controversial movie for sure.
I loved it.
I like this movie, but I feel like this is the first movie that where he started taking himself a little bit more seriously.
Or deviating from the brand.
Yeah, deviating from the brand a little bit. And there still are a lot of fun jokes. Like the camaraderie does really come through. You get some great performances. But it is like one of my problems with some of the later Apatow compared to the earlier Apatow is like with his movies where they're about like 20 minutes too long, and like the 20 minutes I would take away from is like generally where all the characters are arguing with each other. Like his portion that is like supposed to be like the dark night of the soul or whatever, I always feel like lasts a little bit too long.
Yeah. I mean that I think that's a thing that many filmmakers of his prestige, right? Like fall a trap that they can fall into because they have that luxury to like no one's telling them what to do or what's funny.
And some people, some people would disagree too. Like some people would say that like, oh, these make his films more honest and more personable. Like they're not just people getting along all the time. Like people are gonna fight, and there's still comedy like in the drama. And in the fighting, but sometimes for me that in some of that stuff, it's kind of like, okay, let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
I think Funny People falls into this trap a little bit, with all the stuff with Adam Sandler and Leslie Mann, toward like the beginning of the third act into the second act type of stuff. He does a little bit. He's guilty of it a little bit in Knocked Up as well. But for the most part, though, I really enjoy his films. Katie, did you see Funny People?
No, see, I have not seen Funny People. I've not seen Funny People or This Is 40.
I'm a sucker for serious Adam Sandler. I even like Spanglish.
Andrew does love Punch Drunk Love, but I know that he's a big old fan.
Serious Sandler.
Yeah, Punch Drunk Love is a much better movie, obviously, than Spanglish. But I did Serious Sandler.
Undoubtedly.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. In fact, I will be defending Adam Sandler. Did I tell you this, Cragg? You should jump into this if you can. I will be defending Adam Sandler with Al Fallick tomorrow.
Nice.
This is his idea. He said movie lawyer Al Fallick. I tried to get him on this one because his first idea was to talk about Judd Apatow movies.
That's funny.
Call in.
So yeah, I'd love to have you guys, judge.
I told him to call in tonight, and he said he was busy. So I might hop on at some point tomorrow too to talk more about Adam Sandler with y'all.
Yes, of course, that'd be great. A witness testimony as the judge, as the jury, as a co-lawyer, whatever you can do. We'd love to have you on the defense team. Katie, you'll be there, right? Eating pizza in the corner.
Totally, I'm down for that.
Will you make pasta tomorrow for old times?
Can I make some spaghetti?
I love it when you eat spaghetti on the Blab.
It's trying to make it my like running thing.
yes, for all the people who notice. We do have a lot of people out there. If you guys want to call us, we thank you. A lot of our group on Facebook is tuned in, and they've been staying tuned with us, and we thank you guys for that. It's always a great feeling to know that you're out there. So please feel free to leave us a comment about your thoughts on Judd Apatow. I'll read them, or even better, you could call in. That's right, guys. You can call into the show at 908-679-9940. We are taking your calls. If we don't pick up right away, we'll call you right back. Just leave us a voicemail. But we probably will pick up right away because we want to hear what you have to say. So, 908-679-9940, guys. Let's get back to that Apatow, Tow. Go ahead, Cragg. You got to keep us anchored.
Yeah, I got it here in front of me. So, Funny People, he followed up Funny People, which came out in 2009, with 2012's This Is 40. This Is 40 is probably his most controversial film, I would say. Well, this is when people were just kind of like, what? So he just made a movie about being like rich, white, and old?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, looks like we got a caller.
We do.
Call from
Alex Kahn.
to accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press.
Hello, is this Alex Kahn?
Yes, this is Alex Kahn.
Oh, thank you for calling in. How are you?
What's up? So yeah, I have a lot of opinions on Judd Apatow. He's one of my favorites in comedy in general. And I loved his masterclass. I loved his. I actually rewatched his masterclass like a couple days ago. But his I really love Funny People. But can I spoil it? I'm really kind of like, one of my big problems with Funny People is a spoiler.
That's fine. I don't think people care if you spoil Funny People.
Katie hasn't seen it.
Once his cancer is fixed, the movie goes kind of downhill. Because that's the big dilemma of the movie, and then it's the cancer's gone.
I think the movie might be about a bit more than cancer.
No, but I
Yeah,
feel
take
like
another
especially.
look.
No, I know it's about more, but it's I feel like I just feel like the kind of the tension of the film kind of deflates. I don't know. I can't really describe it, but I feel like
Alex, this is the point in the movie that I was talking about, where the characters seem to just fight a lot, and not much happens for a 20 to 25 minute stretch, toward the end of Act 2, beginning of Act 3. Before they start wrapping stuff up.
I mean, that does happen to a lot of comedies, not just Apatow, too. I mean, that's it's hard to sustain a comedic premise for the length of a feature, and it usually takes a lot of
but his movies, he makes his movies 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Where they could be an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah. How long was the Pete Davidson movie?
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
These movies are really fucking long, and they don't have to be.
Yeah.
But a movie where I don't feel like there's a lot of kind of filler is Superbad. Superbad has almost no filler. Superbad is a fucking incredible film. And
Superbad's a top 5 all-time film for me, but he did not write that one or direct it. He just produced that.
I liked, but I really liked, what was it?
Care.
There are definitely ones, I hated Trainwreck.
How about, what do you like? Do you like any?
I like a lot of Funny People. I like a lot of Funny People. I like that movie, basically, except for that 20-minute stretch. If that 20-minute stretch were deleted, I would have loved that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And that would have been my favorite of his by far.
Cool.
But it's just that 20-minute stretch kind of pisses me off in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Alex, you're welcome to call back in later in the show, but we got to keep the momentum going, buddy. That was Alex Kahn, everybody. Thanks for calling in, dude. Give us a call back later in the show.
Bye.
I was trying to avoid Funny People spoilers.
Oh, you really didn't want
yeah,
those.
I told him that Katie hadn't seen it yet, but he just went right for it.
I told him that no one cared. To be fair.
So,
do you want to talk about This Is 40 for a second?
Go for it.
Well, I'd say this is probably his most controversial film. This is the one where people were kind of okay, does he still have it? It's like a pseudo spinoff of Knocked Up, right? Because it's about the Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann characters from Knocked Up. and just about like
I forgot
how
that
they
part.
like live in their marriage, like all these years later, I guess, and like how it's just about like people like with the family, and they
Wait,
have
it's
people.
about the same characters as Knocked Up?
Yeah, you remember Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann's characters in Knocked Up, where they're like the parents with his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about them, but like old when they're older.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I didn't know that that's what it was about.
yeah, and so it's a little. There are some funny moments in it. There's some good jokes, but I think for the most part, it's probably his worst film. It's the question of like, who cares, right? Like, this is just a movie about rich white people being married, like, and they're like, oh, now we're in our 40s, and I think like this movie really like had people like questioning whether or not like he still had it.
Is that your Letterboxd review?
This is 40.
Yeah. Those rich white people say, this is 40.
This is 40. We're 40 now.
It is a terrible title as well.
Yeah, the title is awful as well.
But I mean, we're really focusing on the bad here, but I do agree this is one of his more controversial films, so I get it. I mean, you know, it's hard to make a transition in the kinds of work you're doing, and I think this is like some stunted growth going on the screen
but
here.
I think there's a while where he's been like producing like crazy. Maybe after that or during that time, because he was doing a lot of cool like
From what
finding kind of stuff.
I was under the assumption that he's been doing that since 40-Year-Old Virgin, but let's see what Cragg.
I don't know. Maybe,
Yeah.
but
I don't know.
he was like working hard on producing, and maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
He's been producing like crazy, like I would say. I mean, he's been producing stuff pretty consistently since 1991.
Okay.
He produced the Jim Carrey special in 1991 and has been like actively producing stuff since then. I wouldn't say there's like one stretch in his career where he's producing like more than anything else. There is like a little gap of time between Trainwreck and like the next movie he came out with, which would be The King of Staten Island.
Isn't that because he was like a father and stuff? Or
yeah, I mean, it's probably like raising his kids, right? And he was coming out with a movie like every like 2 or 3 years, and then between Trainwreck and King of Staten Island, it was like 5 years. So
I see.
I like Trainwreck.
Yeah, Trainwreck is the movie that comes after This Is 40, so we can talk about Trainwreck.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trainwreck is pretty funny. I generally don't really like Amy Schumer. Some of the sketches on her show are okay.
Oh, God.
I don't love her. I think her stand-up
sketch
special
show,
is.
You can't touch her sketch show. Inside Amy
her
Schumer
sketch
is
show is
fucking
funny,
genius.
dude.
Yeah. Like,
I don't think it's genius.
I can agree that some of her stand-up is not as great, but her sketch show is
like all the writing, and it's so like not even just what Amy Schumer's doing in it, but what her whole team was doing with it is so good, dude. You should revisit that shit like in this
really
more woke time.
I don't know. And I know, like, in her stand-up specials, too.
It's like, nah, I'm not
agree
gonna
with
do
you.
No, I'm
that.
not going to. In her stand-up specials, too, she stole a bunch
So
of...
Great conversation, Craig.
The Friday Night Lights sketch is so good.
Yeah, it's like, no, let's blast through this thing I disagree with. No. We should call I wish the movie bully was here to call in, but he's watching the movie. Sherry's got a new character called the movie bully. Anyway, go ahead, Craig. I'm just giving you shit.
I like that.
She's a controversial figure in comedy, I would say. Like, people like I think a lot of people do like her sketch show. It's not my favorite. Her stand-up special, like, she got in trouble for stealing a lot of material from Patrice O'Neill, like, after he died, which is like pretty messed up.
Great way to honor his memory.
And she also
Amy
she also
Schumer
is like
movie lawyer. Amy Schumer movie lawyer. This time we're not on the same team.
she's also like admitted to raping guys, like getting them really drunk and having sex with them against their will.
I just feel like she's really been hated upon by a lot of people for literally no reason. It's just my opinion. That there are a lot of like just like people who just don't like her being overweight and don't like her raunchy style. But I think she's like up there. I mean, I think she's very, very funny. Or at least she was. I'm not saying she really is.
Yeah, it's going to be a mad disagree for me on that one. But I do like Trainwreck. I think Trainwreck, I'd say, like, out of all the stuff that she's done, and I don't really like most of it, but I do like Trainwreck. I think she's really funny in this movie. I love Bill Hader in this movie. LeBron is really funny in it as well.
Pete Davidson's film debut.
That's right, he is in Trainwreck, isn't he?
Oh right, yeah.
The John Cena as well in it as like.
Did you see the one where she thinks she's hot?
Or the one where she called the phone center? Oh.
What?
Have you seen the one where she thinks she's hot?
Have you seen the one where Paul Giamatti plays God?
I don't know. I don't
think you've seen any Amy Schumer films or any of her work besides Trainwreck and a few sketches.
I've seen a few sketches. I've seen the special with she's in the leather, and I've seen a few of the sketches, like the one with the giant wine glass. The only special you watched
was the leather special. That one's fucking terrible.
I saw the one with her with the giant wine glasses. Like
that's the only sketch you've seen?
No, I'm using it as an example of a sketch I've seen. Listen, I don't want to talk about Amy Schumer. I want to talk about Judd Apatow.
I don't know.
And I just want to say
this is something to keep deep diving into. I mean,
she steals jokes. She steals jokes, and she's admitted to raping men. I don't really have any interest in her as a creative performer. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with.
Have any men come out complaining about Amy Schumer? Are there any like untold stories about?
She like went on a podcast and admitted to like raping 2 different men.
I love it. Yeah, that sounds crazy. I'd love to hear that. That sounds wild. I'm sure she said some dumbass shit. Anyway, this is fun just because it's getting you pissed off. But please continue.
Well, y'all are just like, oh, well, if you don't like Amy Schumer, it's probably because you haven't seen anything. I'm like, no, I have seen.
But then you told us what you've seen, and you haven't seen the one where she thinks she's hot or the one with Paul Giamatti.
I'm done.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Trainwreck is funny though.
just trying to whoosh it, just trying to give you fresh vibes, fresh air. It's okay. See,
hey guys, go ahead and call in at 908-679-9940 if you like me. Also, don't like Amy Schumer that much.
If you don't like Amy Schumer, that's right, guys. Call this number right here on the front of your screen, 908-679-9940. We want to hear from you. It's a call-in show, but not unless you call in.
Invite some trolls just to...
Shut up about that.
No, if you say call in if you hate Amy Schumer, that's.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about something.
I didn't say if you hate Amy Schumer. I said call in if you don't like her that much. I said call in if, like me, you don't really like her that much.
Y'all, breaking news. Matt Cragg leads the anti-Amy Schumer agenda.
Her cousin is Chuck Schumer. He sucks too.
He also hates her cousin. Just because her
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
I mean, my cousin was a meth head, but you don't see people calling me a meth head.
Okay, somebody's gone. Okay, I bet it's Alex Kahn.
I'm Alex Kahn. I have some opinions to say.
To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Hello, I do have some opinion to say about Amy Schumer.
Oh.
Great, what do you have to say about Amy Schumer?
What's your name, caller?
My name is Alex Kahn.
Where are you calling from?
Dude, stop fucking around.
Fine.
What do you think about Amy Schumer, Alex?
Okay, cool. So, she has some funny, sketches on Inside. There's one that her older stuff is actually probably her funniest. Like pre-Trainwreck, she had this really funny sketch about how her friend had cancer. And she was like telling everybody how her friend had cancer, and it was just her trying.
You're really pitching it in a great way. What's funny about? Go ahead.
No, I thought that was a funny sketch. Again, I really hated Trainwreck. I hated that movie where she and Goldie Hawn got
We're talking about Amy
kidnapped.
Schumer more.
I hated I Feel Pretty. I hate most of her stand-up. There is one thing that I love about her. She's been doing a lot of autism awareness because her husband has autism, and I like that. That is the one thing that she's been doing that I like. But
Well, way to go, Amy Schumer, for autism awareness.
She actually is amazing about autism awareness and does a bunch for it, and is actually a very charitable person if you look into some of what she's done in her personal life.
yeah.
She's a complicated figure. She's a complicated, controversial figure.
I mean, we could talk about Lena Dunham, another Judd Apatow complicated figure.
Who?
We could talk about Lena Dunham, another Judd Apatow complicated figure.
Yeah. I think it's better. Like, let's not continue bashing all the women that Judd Apatow is involved in.
No, Lena Dunham is smart. I love Lena Dunham. Tiny Furniture is a fucking great movie. I love Tiny Furniture.
I do love Tiny Furniture, and I love Girls.
I love Girls too. Yeah, I like both of her work. And I want to see that new TV show she's working on. But I haven't got the chance to see it. But I love both Girls and Tiny Furniture. She gets too much hate.
I liked the first season of Girls, and then I thought it sort of fell apart.
The first season of Girls is definitely the best season of Girls, but it is definitely a consistent show.
Yeah, I think I like the whole thing.
But yeah, it is like
I think
she
got
is
ripped
like
apart so hard for that show for like no reason.
What'd you say, Katie?
no, it's just a bunch
I
of
think she
fucking
got, like, ripped
it's just a bunch of
apart for
fucking
that
like conservative assholes who hate on that show, and they.
What'd you say, Katie?
I said I think she got ripped apart for that show for no real good reason.
I think all women in comedy get ripped apart. Literally all of them.
Yeah, by little conservative assholes, exactly. By conservative sexist assholes.
Yes. Anyone who doesn't like Amy Schumer is a fascist. That's what you're calling in to tell us. We thank you so much for this.
Assholes who have never seen Girls or have never seen Tiny Furniture just get upset at Lena Dunham because she's a woman speaking her opinion.
Okay, well, we're going to keep talking about Judd Apatow movies. But
I have other opinions about Judd Apatow movies.
That's great. Let's continue. With this, I'm sure he'll call back later, so I'm not worried.
So after Trainwreck, he did a 30 for 30 on Doc and Daryl, which was about Daryl Strawberry and the New York Mets of the 1980s. It's a pretty good documentary.
He does incredible documentary work. He's done so many.
Yeah.
Can I talk about one of the documentaries that he did that I like?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Is it coming up? He did one on Gary
Are you
Shandling.
talking about the Zen Diaries of Gary Shandling?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the last thing
so
he
good.
did before King of Staten Island.
I can't recommend that documentary enough. Excuse me.
1 second, I'm going to grab a cerveza.
Okay. Why don't we take a quick pause? What do you say? And we'll come right back with more Apatow. I'm just going to do a BRB. Like, this doesn't have to be a full break. Or we could take an actual break. Let's do a BRB, and then we'll take a real break.
BRB.
All right, guys, we're going to BRB. That means we're going to be right back in like 2 minutes or less. So we'll see you in just a second. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Okay?
Welcome to ADT. I'm putting your call through now. All calls may be recorded.
Thank you for calling ADT. My name is Jamaria. How may I help you?
Hello, do you have security cameras?
Is we sell security cameras? Yes.
What does that cost?
Let's see if our sales department is open. They could give you a couple quotes in regards to the ones that we have. Hold on. Let me just check if they're open first for you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, they're actually closed. They close at 12 a.m.
That's right, guys. We are back for more Apatow. I'm here with Katie and Matt, as always, and we're talking about Judd Apatow. We've covered some of his sort of the second half of his career. I want to talk a little bit more about the HBO documentary and anything else that Cragg wanted to mention, or Katie. And then we should go back and talk more about, I think, some of his big hits, right? Or where do you guys want to go with this?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You were just about to talk about the Zen Diaries of Gary Shandling.
So, incredible documentary. He had access to his actual diaries, and so he was able to, he read them and did the voiceover, and then there's a couple episodes of it, and he was he was very successful, very rich, and had a basketball court that was like famous, where all the comedians would play basketball, and that's what he was like known for, is having like the best comedians over to his house to play basketball. It was like this thing, and he was just someone like who later in his life was like, he really like had a lot of transformations and totally became all about other people than himself, and was like this mentor to all of these comedians. It's a pretty moving and hilarious documentary because his journals, as you might imagine, are both serious and reflective and like spiritual, and then also like hilarious and fucked up. So then all of the interviews with all of these comics who he was such a behind the scenes guy in the second half of his life, and he did so, he was so supportive and nurturing to new comics, and I think that says something. Like, I don't see that from Jerry Seinfeld, right? Do you see Jerry Seinfeld propping up the next comedian?
No, he's too competitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's two types, right? The ones who
he seems like I watch comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He seems like so annoying to be around, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that's Apatow is the same way in terms of actually being one of the good ones of trying to support other comedians, and like honoring their contribution to comedy by continuing it, and knowing that because I think you get to an age where you kind of things aren't as funny, or if they are funny, they're funny in a different way, or they get. I mean, we've seen it with a lot of. I think there's other cases of this, but Judd Apatow is definitely the most Freaks and Geeks had those moments though. It wasn't all just like yucks and chucks.
He's always they all have heart, I mean, I dig that about it. It's like about Bridesmaids, and like some people don't like Bridesmaids because it's
I think Bridesmaids is hilarious.
Yeah, Bridesmaids is incredible.
But some people will knocked it for having a more serious storyline in the background. But,
did he have anything he produced Bridesmaids.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
Bridesmaids is great. Whoa.
I don't know what was happening there. That's just the Google voice. It's nothing.
Well, and then, the most recent thing he directed that just came out, King of Staten Island.
Yes. Why don't we get to your little review of that before we kind of talk about our favorites of his, or some of his earlier stuff. I want to hear what you thought. We have not seen the movie, so this will be spoiler free.
Yeah.
But it's time for a little letterbox library. Kind of.
Yeah. This movie, It's not very funny. It has more of the like heart that you guys are talking about. It's a little bit more serious. I mean, there are jokes in it, but like the jokes are not the main focus of this movie. It's more about like Pete Davidson's like struggle with mental illness and his own sort of arrested development, trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life.
I think Judd said something like, I had to make all these comedies to be able to make this serious one. He said there was some behind the scenes thing where he was talking about that. I think did Craig freeze?
I think so. Carrie Brown gave a great comment. She said she just watched The King of Staten Island. She also thinks Superbad was hilarious, and the movie jumped a lot of acting careers. Carrie, I miss you. You should call into the show. It would be great to hear your voice, and I do remember discussing movies with you at the coffee shop back in the day. Matt Cragg, still Frozo.
Still Frozo.
He's still Frozo.
Yeah, I do think that he meant for it to be serious.
Ooh, we lost him completely.
Whoa.
What happened?
Hey, what happened?
I don't know what happened.
It's all good. Keep going, Katie. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Did you guys hear anything I said?
I don't remember, but just keep talking. It's the Blab.
I was just saying, like, this movie doesn't really focus on the comedy as much. It's more about Davidson's struggle with mental illness and sort of arrested development, trying to figure out like what he wants to do with his life, what he wants his life to be like, trying to get by without his father. It's semi-autobiographical about Davidson's life. Bill Burr is in it. He plays.
I heard he's really good.
His mom's new boyfriend. Yes. He's very funny.
He's a damn really fine actor.
I really like Bill Burr. I think he's
a damn
really
fine
funny.
actor.
Marissa Tomei plays his mom. She's great. Some of his friends are funny. Like his sister is played by Judd Apatow.
Who's that? Is his daughter?
Plays Pete Davidson's sister. Yeah, Judd Apatow's daughter.
Did he name his daughter after Harold and Maude?
Maybe. I don't know.
That would be awesome.
That would be breaking news.
I think he meant for it to be like a serious.
Yeah,
thing.
it is more serious. It's more serious. I liked it. It's not a must see. I wouldn't say by any stretch. It does have a lot of heart, and Pete Davidson I think is pretty good in it, and I think Bill Burr is pretty good in it. But for the most part, it's kind of 2.5 hours and nothing really happens. Not a whole lot of plot, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. I had a good time watching it, but it is.
I mean, did it make you think? Did it make you feel?
Yeah, sure.
Talk to me about it as like a dramedy. I mean, since it's not supposed to be, I think a problem with Judd Apatow's movies is they're always advertised as comedies because that's sort of what gets the tickies sold, and then he gives you a little bit more than that. But while we're on a quick detour, there is just a little bit of breaking news. It's true that that Judd Apatow's daughter was indeed named after Maude from Harold and Maude. In fact, she says in an interview it's her favorite movie.
That's awesome.
I thought that's pretty fucking cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
I know.
She's been in a. She has benefited from his.
I love Judd. He's like,
I love Judd. We love you, Judd. You make us laugh.
What a great name. His name is Judd. Like we always say Judd Apatow, but like if you're just hanging out with him, it's like, what up, Judd?
Judd, Leslie, and Maude.
What a name. Also, yeah, his wife is so funny.
Yeah, I love Leslie Mann. I'm a big fan of Leslie Mann. I think she's hilarious.
in 40-Year-Old Virgin when she's driving the car.
When she's drunk driving in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
This is what I want to get to, is the fun stuff, like some of our favorite scenes from anything he's made or produced. I mean,
or written, because Pineapple Express is so good. Oh my God. I love Pineapple Express. I mean, the whole opening where he's like serving people is great. Like all of the scenes with James Franco where he's like buying weed from him are so good. It's just such a killer movie, man.
The sort of the last thing I wanted to say, and this is something that, I've been kind of thinking about because of the protests and everything. His movies are very white. There's not a whole lot of diversity in Judd Apatow movies. It doesn't mean that they're not good or not funny, but that's something I definitely was thinking about. Like you made a movie about Staten Island and it's like all white people.
Huh.
Just, something to think about.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
if he is he's like a curator for
I guess he did.
Yeah, but he's like we've talked about him as like a curator for like other comedians and like giving other comedians a voice and stuff.
Do we know?
But
that
oftentimes, a lot of the comedians I feel like that he gives a voice to are all white.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right when I think about it. That's true. That is true. I'm trying to think if there's any. I mean, there aren't enough. I would say there's not enough. You know what? I agree with you. That sounds good. That's a good thing to point out about why his movies. It's
something
bad.
I noted. I'm not saying his movies are bad. I'm just trying to be honest about Judd Apatow.
Yeah, no, it's a good observation.
Listen, I love Judd Apatow movies. I've seen as many as you can see, basically, and I go out of my way to watch them. But I'm just trying to have I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to critique where I can.
I'm trying to create tension in radio. I'm trying to rile you up, buddy. Trying to get you going.
You're doing it. You're getting me riled.
I want you to break out of that screen and climb out into the studio, break everything.
So we kind of went through his directing.
Yeah, I think that was a good look at his filmography.
His directing filmography, and
there's
of course
that filmography theme. Oh, it's over, guys. That was Judd Apatow's filmography retrospective. Thanks, Matt Cragg, for leading that one.
Sure thing.
Very helpful.
You can go back and look at all the stuff he's written and produced and directed, and I mean, there's some great stuff.
Can we talk about Walk Hard?
I love Walk Hard. Yeah.
Y'all don't need a break, do you? Can we?
No,
just
no.
Okay.
Didn't we?
Yeah. I'll just make sure. Okay, we'll blow through that, and then let's talk about our faves. Yeah, let's talk about Walk Hard. I fucking love Walk Hard.
Walk Hard is so good. It's a fucking brilliant. It's a masterpiece.
Every moment.
The thing about Walk Hard is it's amazing to me that they're still making these musician biopics. They had Bohemian Rhapsody came out, and then Rocket Man, and that they're still coming out with all of these biopics about these troubled musicians with drug addictions.
It's a great thing to spoof.
Because the Walk Hard just lampooned that entire genre, and to the point where it makes it hard for me to take those movies seriously anymore. Just because I think about John C. Reilly ripping the sinks out of the wall anytime that they're going, or when they're having drug problems. I just think about John C. Reilly being I need more blankets. I need less blankets.
You don't want no part of this.
You don't want no part of this, do we? Oh God, I love this. And Jenna Fisher is so funny in it, not to be overlooked at all.
So
She's fantastic as the June Carter role. There's so many good cameos from people playing.
Kristen Wiig too, about it as his first wife too.
Yes, exactly. Do it. She's like, get out of here.
He's like, I told you I can't make you a house made out of chocolate. It would melt in the sun.
Oh man,
the songs are really great too. It's brilliant.
Sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
No, I want you to react. Go ahead. Say it.
The other thing I was gonna say was comparing it to watching other those dramatic musician biopic films. Like when I watched Bohemian Rhapsody, and there's like a montage of them like recording the song Bohemian Rhapsody and like everything that went into it. The only thing I could just keep thinking about was like, I need 50,000 didgeridoos.
Yes.
I need an army of didgeridoos.
And it's cool that his work.
That was like a reaction to the Johnny Cash movie and Ray Charles movie, which both came out.
Yes.
But they're all the same. Like all those movies are the same. They all do the same thing.
It was particularly because those were both nominated like 2 years in a row, and they were like the exact same movie. They were, but just different. But like the whole structure,
the formula,
same, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still, those movies are still like coming out and like winning Oscar. Like Rami Malek won.
Oh, yeah.
Rami Malek won Best Actor 2 years ago for Bohemian Rhapsody, and that movie was terrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Walk the Line's the only good one.
Truly atrocious.
But Walk the Line. That's why I like Walk Hard, because it made fun of the best one.
It's very much Ray too, because there's it's the whole thing of his accident when he's a kid and all that, like.
Yeah, and
but he just like hands in the guitar, and he's like, "Well, I've never played before," and then he like just
immediately starts playing the blues. Yeah,
he's like, funny. "Man, you're pretty good."
All the original music that they wrote for that movie too is like so funny and good.
Oh yeah,
like the Bob Dylan protest song about midgets.
About midgets, yeah. Also, Let's Duet, like so good. And Walk Hard. I mean, the song Walk Hard is like great.
Walk Hard.
Yeah. Hard.
So good.
So good. I was gonna say the reviews are pretty interesting. I was gonna let y'all see if y'all wanted to respond to some of these.
Walk Hard.
Yeah, so it has a tomato meter of 74%, but an audience score of 57%, which is blowing my mind. The critics liked it more than the audience, and that's out of 139 critics, and then 300,000 audience ratings. So let's see what some of these critics that didn't like it said. The only gale-force laughter in later scenes comes with when the hero meets the Beatles. Oh my God, the Financial Times. Fuck you, Nigel.
Who cares what the Financial Times has to say about Walk Hard?
Some laughs, but you expect more from Apatow, which is so interesting, of course, because he's
of course they like
the producer, not the.
Yeah.
Well, he wrote it. He wrote Walk Hard.
Yes.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Right. Okay. Did he write it all with? He wrote it with John C. Reilly, or just by himself, or with someone else?
I don't know. I'm just let's see.
I can see right up here. It says
he wrote it with Jake Kasdan.
Yeah, Jake Kasdan.
Oh, Jake Kasdan directed it, I believe.
Okay.
Did
he? Yes.
Because I watched it recently.
That is
true.
He
directed. Yes.
It says.
I think you're doing pretty good for a 15-year-old boy with a baby. It's just looking like 40-year-old John C. Reilly.
It's so good.
It's so good.
How
can it get bad reviews? I don't even understand.
Starts out brilliantly playing with tired tropes of musical biopics before utterly losing its way, says Alonzo from the MSNBC Critic Corner. Here's a good review from BBC. Riley, one of our best supporting actors graduating to star status, finally bound for glory. 4 out of 5 stars. I think it should get 5 stars everywhere. Let's see what these people are saying on the audience score for.
Yeah, what's this 50%? That's some bullcorn.
Funny in one of the last great spoof movies. I would agree with that. We haven't seen a spoof movie in so long that. Sorry, I was just lingering on you.
Yeah.
Push that camera back now. Yeah, it's true. I mean, MacGruber, did that come out before or after this? Because I would call that one of the best spoof movies.
It must. I think it was probably around the same time. Honestly.
God, MacGruber is so funny. It's not Apatow, but
I wish he wished.
God, I love that movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's either Apatow or Lorne Michaels. I don't know if either were involved.
Well, MacGruber, yeah. Well, produced by Lorne Michaels for sure.
Yeah. I wonder how they. Apatow's hosted before, right? Yeah. He doesn't seem to have very many enemies. I think he's hosted.
Has he hosted?
I want to say he has. But MacGruber.
It's crazy. He wrote Knocked Up and Walk Hard in the same year.
Well, he wrote Knocked Up in whoa, did he write this? Oh, right. So he wrote. That wasn't one of his scripts. Never mind. That's crazy.
That's insane because they're so good. Wow.
Knocked Up is one that we should let's kind of move to Knocked Up because
I'm trying to talk about Knocked Up.
Yeah.
Knocked Up is really fun. That scene where they go to Vegas and they take mushrooms and go to Cirque du Soleil.
He's talking about they're moving all the chairs around. Paul Rudd's moving all the chairs around.
There are 10 different kinds of chairs in this hotel.
This is Seth Rogen's first leading role.
Knocked Up,
yeah, which is pretty crazy.
That was his breakout. Yeah.
Well, because he's in 40-Year-Old Virgin too. He's one of the guys that works in the electronics
and it was
store.
originally going to be a follow-up to the 40-Year-Old Virgin, having Seth Rogen and the company reprise their roles as the Smart Tech team. So he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was. I think he's thought of them as a trilogy in his mind, or like.
I think his thing. All of his films are. Connect.
The guys that Knocked Up too are really funny. Jason Segel and Jonah Hill and Martin Starr.
Yeah. And I watched it recently, and they all say their names in the movie are their names. Jonah Hill, his name is Jonah.
When they're making basically the Mr. Skin website.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then they're explaining it to people, and Paul Rudd's MrSkin.com. And they're like, what? And then they look it up, and they're like, oh, damn it! How did we not know?
and then Martin Starr's yeah, I saw it a while ago, but I didn't think it was anything.
He's growing that beard the whole movie.
He's got the long. He has, and it's got what's that girl? That girl that was in. That movie with Michael Cera that we saw, Andrew, is it Paper Heart?
Paper Heart, yeah.
What's that girl's name?
I can't remember. She kind of fell off the map, it seems like.
But she's in that movie as the stoner girlfriend.
Yeah,
on the couch.
you know who else is in this
Martin
movie?
Starr's girlfriend.
This is Ken Jeong's first film debut playing a doctor.
He plays one of the gynecologists that they go and see, yeah.
Of course, he gets film debut as playing a doctor.
Wasn't he Judd Apatow's gynecologist, and that's how they met originally, or no? Or is that urban legend?
I think that might be urban legend, but we could take a look. You could take a look if you wanted. What I found was interesting was that this is something that I remember. This is actually based on Maud's birth, and Leslie Mann he says that over and over in the DVD commentary. He says that the film is based on the birth of his first daughter,
I think
Maud.
All of it is super autobiographical, and that it's all very connected. Everything from Freaks and Geeks, all the
Yeah, that's what I love about it. He has a universe, right?
Yeah,
and you can't say that about a lot of comedy filmmakers as much.
No,
you have that for Wes Anderson, but it's usually a thing you see in
Tarantino.
action or drama or here are the scenes that influenced him. That he took directly and put into the script. Ben trying to get their doctor on the phone and cussing out numerous doctors when he can't. The cantankerous staff physician whom Ben has to take out into the hallway to calm down. The argument on the way to the clinic where Allison throws Ben out of the car, and then they argue at the clinic when he gets there. And the scene where Allison tries to take a bath to calm herself just before going to the hospital are all autobiographical moments that were stems for him to... It seems like he uses those as starting places, right? Stand-up comedians do with their stand-up and shit. He just does it right in front of you.
That's why it feels so authentic and relatable. Is because it's real.
Mila Kunis auditioned for the role of Allison, but she didn't get the role, so he cast her later in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which he produced. We have a caller.
What do you think about Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Guess who the caller is?
It's Alex Kahn.
That's correct. You
Call
win.
from.
Alex, my name is Alex, and I have some opinions on...
To accept, press 1.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
It's me, yeah.
Is this
So
Alex
I
Kahn?
have some opinions on
Hello?
Knocked Up.
Is this Alex Kahn?
Yes, I am Alex Kahn.
Oh, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Rye, New York.
Okay, great. How you doing today, Alex?
I'm doing good.
Well, thanks for calling in Movie Blab. We love to hear from our listeners, man. I really appreciate it.
You really appreciate it.
Where are you watching us?
I'm the former
Facebook,
intern.
YouTube, Twitch.
So yeah, I have some opinions on Knocked Up.
Go
This is your
ahead.
first time calling in the show?
Yeah, is this your first time
No,
calling?
it's not, guys. Okay, can we stop doing this charade? So my opinion on Knocked Up is this a decent...
Alex, before you say it, when was the last time that you watched Knocked Up?
Yes.
Well, the last time I watched Knocked Up was around like 2 years ago. I remember I was really sick with the flu and I was watching a bunch of movies.
Okay. Okay, proceed.
And it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. I think Juno is the better film. They came out around the same time, and they're both like about pregnancy. And it's a decent film. I found it to be a decent film, but it's not like great or anything.
What?
Okay, that's your hot take.
No, I have. Are you gonna hang up on me now?
Thinking about it.
No.
No. But yeah, Knocked Up was good. Walk Hard was really shitty. I really fucking hate it.
Hang up on him right fucking now. Hang up on him right fucking now. I don't want to hear another word from that guy.
I don't hear it. I don't.
I don't want to hear that.
Do not disrespect Dewey Cox, okay?
That's just a wrong opinion.
Yeah, he's like, are you gonna hang up on me? Not yet.
It's just objectively wrong.
Oh boy, that
wrong.
was bad. That was bad.
You know what else I think we should talk about?
Oh, you're gonna move on. Wow. Okay.
One of the very first movies Judd Apatow ever wrote. Heavyweights.
Ah.
Oh,
he wrote
Heavyweight.
that? Wow. I thought he produced it. He wrote it.
He wrote it.
That's why it's so fucking funny.
Heavyweights is so good.
Big
also,
movie in our
R.I.P.
childhoods.
Jerry Stiller, who passed away kind of recently.
Yeah,
Yes.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. indeed. Jerry, if you're out there, we love you. You have a comedic legacy that you've left for
I
all
haven't
of
seen
us.
Heavyweights probably since I was in like high school or middle school, but God, that movie is so funny, and I would love to go back to rewatch it.
Yeah, that movie is so funny.
I also, let me look at this list. Oh, there's a little bit more about Knocked Up. I was gonna see if no, I think that's it. Oh, all of Judd Apatow's daughter's conversations were improvised.
And Knocked Up with Seth Rogen.
Yes, and Paul Rudd contributed.
Where she's like, I googled murder.
Yeah, that's improv. There's a lot of improv in here, or lines fed on set just before a take.
Yeah, what did he do on Anchorman?
So he was a producer on Anchorman.
He's a producer on Anchorman.
Not
not a writer, no.
Story even?
No, that's all McKay. It's all McKay and Farrell. He was just a producer on Anchorman.
Maybe a boom. Maybe he held the boom.
Yeah. Executive producer and boom operator.
That's my kind of.
This isn't Bindle
I had one of
Stiffs.
those. Yeah. But the improv stuff is cool and worth mentioning that he's like, brought a lot of that loose influence and kind of Duplass Brothers approach to making something very cinematic. And he's got funny actors. There's lots of alternate versions in his director's cut. He shoots a lot of different versions of things. There's like a whole list here of all the. Anyway, Anchorman. What else?
I'm just gonna list off about some of his producer credits because there's so many that it's like hard to like touch on them all. So I'm just gonna rattle off a bunch right
Let
now.
me put some music under it. Go for it.
King of Staten Island, Love, Crashing, Jerry Before Seinfeld, Girls, The Big Sick, Pete Holmes, Faces and Sounds, Hannibal Buress, Hannibal Takes Edinburgh, Pee-wee's Big Holiday, Trainwreck, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, This Is 40, The 5-Year Engagement, Wanderlust, Bridesmaids, Aziz Ansari Looking for Work, Get Him to the Greek, Acting with James Franco, Funny People, Year One, Pineapple Express, Step Brothers, Drillbit Taylor, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Walk Hard, Superbad, Knocked Up, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Oh, wow.
The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Kicking and Screaming, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, Undeclared, Freaks and Geeks, The Larry Sanders Show, The Cable Guy, The Ben Stiller Show.
Oh, The Cable Guy.
Wait. What did he do on The Cable Guy?
He was a producer. These are all stuff that he produced.
Wow.
Because he did a thing for Jim Carrey before, so he probably got that.
Yeah, he did Jim Carrey's. He produced Jim Carrey's first special. The Ben Stiller Show, Heavyweights. A couple of things for Tom Arnold. He's done a bunch of stuff.
Have y'all seen Crashing?
He produced The Big Sick.
Yeah, I like Crashing a lot.
Crashing is fun. It's a great show.
Crashing, so good. I really like that.
I wish Artie Lang was still on it.
He directed the episode with Artie Lang, like the Artie Lang episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, those episodes, like the ones with him, are powerful for sure.
Yeah. Artie's the best.
Yeah, Artie's great. I love Artie. So he's got that line in that episode of Crashing. He goes, "I must be the only motherfucker to ever get fat on cocaine."
Yeah. That's like a perfect example of his comedy.
He's produced a bunch of stand-up specials, going through these like producer stuff. It's not just movies and TV. He's also like I said, he did one for Hannibal Buress. He did one for Aziz Ansari. He did one for Jerry Seinfeld. He did one for Chris Gethard. He did one for Pete Holmes.
He did the Chris Gethard one?
Yeah, Career Suicide.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
It's very serious. It's like good. It's very honest, like mental health kind of thing, but fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but it was good.
He does talk a lot about mental health and family. And
did either of y'all see his stand-up special that Judd Apatow did?
Which one?
I did.
Judd Apatow's stand-up special.
It was I.
Because he never really done
stand-up.
Yeah, he did a Netflix special. I haven't seen it.
It was pretty funny.
Because he's just someone that's been like pretty like stand-up adjacent for a long time. I mean, obviously he made a movie about stand-up comics with funny people, has produced a number of stand-up specials, but it's someone that never really did it himself. And then like Netflix gave him a bunch of money and he like did it for the first time.
Yeah.
So like you don't expect it to be great or anything, right? He's not like a career stand-up, but like I would be interested to watch it.
It's worth watching. It's more of like he tells really funny stories that are it shed light into his like writing process and his personality, which always enhances his movies, especially, right? I mean, so I recommend it. I recommend that. I definitely recommend his masterclass too. That's awesome.
He's
done some good things.
Going back over this, I think overall, while there are like criticisms to be made about Apatow, overall he has had like an extremely net positive effect on comedy and on filmmaking, especially in the 21st century.
I agree.
So, as someone with that large of a body of work, not everything is going to be perfect, obviously. No. But overall, as a producer and a writer and a director, I really value his contributions to the world of film and the world of comedy. That's
perfect way to wrap us up.
And I think he's definitely someone who is going to be around for a little while longer too. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. And if you guys are interested, go check out The King of Staten Island on video on demand.
Katie?
Was he a producer on? What was he on? Step Brothers.
He was a producer on Step Brothers.
I love Step Brothers. So good, man.
Step Brothers is one of the funniest movies ever made.
It's so fun. Also, that was like Adam Scott's.
It's like no TV for a week. What are you fucking high?
I can sing high like this.
That's my favorite scene in anything.
Also, who's the guy? He's the guy. He's the guy in that play. He's like the former Marine, but he's in the cat. He works with Adam Scott, and he goes kapow.
Oh,
what is that actor's name?
He was in 21 Jump Street. What's his fucking name? Fuck, what is his name? I don't remember, but he is so fucking funny. Yeah, he's like pow, kapow. The fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Fuck Catalina wine mixer. I have to figure out this guy's name before we leave.
Okay. Katie, you gonna play video games for the third part, for the third half?
Rob Riggle.
Rob Riggle.
Rob Riggle.
Yeah.
Forget that.
That's right.
Man, I love him in 21 Jump Street, which this is offset, but 21 Jump Street is such a funny movie too.
And I think
both of them are. 22 Jump Street's pretty funny as well.
I think it's worth talking about his influence for a second. I mean, I'm going to wrap up talking about his influence on other, not even comedies he's been involved in, but the kinds of comedies that people want. I think that he's a reason that people look for more meaningful comedic pieces now, for good or for worse. But I think if you look at his producing, he also has, he's contributed to all forms of kind of comedic storytelling in a sense. Like he's dabbled in all of the tones and all of the levels and heightened, and levels of realism, whether as a producer or writer or anything. He seems to just want to flex every kind of comedy muscle he can. But now he's sort of just really wants to like, these movies are his little life philosophy specials, right? They're his little stand-up acts. And sure. I still appreciate them,
I like that it's just kind of like, he's just kind of telling what he knows. I think that's why they're so successful, is because he's so personal and it's just like authentic. It feels like relatable. Like all the stories are pretty relatable and like, and like, especially like Knocked Up. Like that's such a, like, it's such a related, like the way that they like freak out, like would be so relatable.
Yeah.
But no, he's very like, I like that he tells the story from, from himself and from his story.
I agree. Guys, this is such a fun conversation. Real quick,
Hello.
Why don't you like Walk Hard?
I don't know. I just didn't laugh.
I'm taking my headphones off and I'm walking away.
I just thought it was not that fun. You also, do you want to know, like, you guys were so I have some other opinions that, like, I really love, I think Chris Gethard is one of the funniest comedians out there right now. Chris Gethard is awesome. Also, Heavyweights, from what I remember back when I was around like 10, was not that funny.
Okay, I went to the bathroom, but what the fuck are you saying about how it's bad and you didn't laugh? What the hell?
I just didn't really find Walk Hard that funny.
What?
Is that an appropriate opinion to have?
No.
It's so funny.
When was the last time you watched it?
I said I saw it like a couple months ago.
Ugh.
It's so funny. What?
Like, I saw it like a couple months ago. Like, I didn't find it like that funny. And
we don't agree with you. We don't agree with you at all.
Okay, no, dude. We agree on Chris Gethard. Chris Gethard is really funny. I love Chris Gethard. I
met Chris Gethard once.
I
saw him do stand-up in Austin. It was great.
Chris Gethard is definitely like Chris Gethard. He was in Don't Think Twice, which I don't know if Judd Apatow produced, but I think he was involved in it.
Is he done Talking yet?
This is one of my favorite films of the past 2 years.
All right,
4 years actually.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up, Alex. We'll keep you on the line here. I want to thank my guests, Katie McDowell, Katie, anything that you want to plug?
Walk Hard. Walk Hard is such a good movie. Go watch it. Enjoy it.
All right, she's plugging Walk Hard, a great movie produced by Judd Apatow. And Matt Cragg, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Craggum.
That's right. There's a lot of great stuff on there. And I'm, of course, going to plug Movie Blab. But I do want to thank Alex Kahn for calling in today. Thank you so much, Alex. We love you on the Blab, even though your opinions are wrong. Even though your opinions are wrong. But yeah, I'm gonna plug Movie Blab. That's Facebook.com/MovieBlab, Twitch.tv/MovieBlab, Twitter @movie_blab. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. I think that's all of them. This has been a really fun one, guys.
Twitch.
Periscope. I said Twitch. I thought Twitch.tv. Anyway, it's hard to keep up with all of it. Oh, real quick, guys, before I forget, we have to, of course, mention our sponsors, SaveGreenMoney.com. They make the show happen. SaveGreenMoney.com's goal is to provide high-quality, reasonably priced, and functional, sustainable solutions that solve everyday environmental challenges that can benefit everyone. These sustainable solutions are, of course, things like solar panels and the kind of equipment you need to live a more green-powered life. We always like to feature one product from SaveGreenMoney.com. Who wants to take it? Matt Cragg, you got this one?
Yeah, give me a second here.
No problem. I'll keep telling people about the benefit of shopping with Save Green Money is threefold. You get what you want, you're moving towards sustainable living, and you're saving money in the process. Okay, they're committed to delivering products that allow you to live well and balance your lifestyle with nature. Good for you, good for the planet. So they have a real cause there. I mean, this is a great reason to save some greenbacks by being green. For all of you who want to go off the grid, for all of you who want to get your own solar-powered kind of grow house going, you know, whatever you need.
Grow house?
Yeah, you could. He's got stuff for grow houses. If it's
well,
legal
hey
in your
guys,
state.
if you know, at SaveGreenMoney.com, you can get a lot of great products, especially the Midnight Solar MND 3R4024 PAE-UPS.
Oh my
backup power.
Oh, it's a backup power supply.
Backup power supply.
That sounds
List
super
price,
useful.
$6,300.
Okay.
Our price at SaveGreenMoney.com, $4,700.
Oh my God.
$1,600.
That is incredible savings.
Solar MND 3R4024 PAE-UPS backup power supply.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys again for joining us, and thank you to SaveGreenMoney.com. We will see y'all next time. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a movie lawyer for Adam Sandler, kind of keeping it going. We've been talking about comedies all week. You know, if you look at what our president's doing, you look at the news, you know, it's very important to look at that, but it's also important to have a laugh every now and again. And so we've been trying to
watch movies.
It's also important to have a laugh, watch a comedy movie. Watch a comedy movie. Take it all in, then watch a comedy movie. Then take it all in, watch a comedy. That's my prescription, anyway, for this week. So, yeah, we're going to keep it going with Adam Sandler and a movie lawyer with Al Fallick, potentially Matt Cragg, potentially Katie McDowell, joining us in the court of movie opinion to defend Adam Sandler and all of his fantastic films and legacy. I'm excited to represent him as my client. And it should be a good one. That's pretty much everything, guys. Thank you again, and we will see you next time on Movie Blab. Hey, everybody, I'm Andrew Edison, and you're tuned in
to Movie
Thanks,
Blab.
Alex.
Is he always on the line the whole
Clock
time?
has started.
Yeah, he likes to stay. Oh, thanks y'all so much for joining us. It's been so fun, all you cats and kittens. We'll see you tomorrow for some movie lawyer defending Adam Sandler. Until then, have a nice time. We love you, you love us, and we'll see ya later. Seacrest out.